We're all mortal and can only hope for a long, joyful life. Ideally, we'd peacefully pass away without pain. Sadly, that's not the reality for everyone. Science sheds light on some excruciating ways people can die, explored in this gallery. Electrocution. So, we've all had those little electric shocks that hurt like crazy, but getting electrocuted is a whole different story. When a super strong electric charge hits you, your muscles go into lockdown, your bones snap, your skin puffs up, and even your eyeballs can pop out of their sockets. It's seriously excruciating. Back in the day, zapping someone to death in an electric chair was just plain barbaric. But hey, anyone who messes with a high voltage wire without protection can end up in the same boat. Radiation. The scariest thing about radiation is that you can't see it, but it can totally kill you if you get too much. So, what happens when you get hit with acute radiation syndrome, ARS? Well, it messes up your tissues and your genes. And that leads to a whole bunch of health problems that mess with your immune system. Eventually, your circulatory system gives up and you kick the bucket. Not a fun way to go, that's for sure. Crucifixion. We all know about Jesus getting crucified, but this torture method has been around since way back in the day. While some artists make it look all peaceful, crucifixion is actually insanely painful. It's so bad that the word excruciating comes from it. And forget about those pictures with nails in the palms of the hands, that's not accurate. The nails actually went through the wrists, hitting a nerve that makes it hurt like hell. Plus, imagine all the bugs crawling around in those wounds. Gross. Burning. If the idea of burning alive gives you the heebie-jeebies, you're not alone. It's absolutely horrifying. Our skin is packed with nerves, so when it burns, it's excruciatingly painful. And let's not forget about the agony of inhaling smoke and hot air, which not only chokes you but also burns everything in its path. It's a total nightmare. And if you've ever wondered how lava would do the job, well, it's probably not a pretty sight. Freezing. So, after that, your muscles get all stiff and your brain starts acting all wonky. And as your body tries to keep your important organs warm, your fingers and toes start hurting like crazy. And then, to top it all off, frostbite kicks in and it feels like you're on fire. Yeah, freezing is definitely not a fun way to kick the bucket. Drowning. It's not like it takes ages, but it's super painful. First off, you're freaking out and breathing way too fast, which makes you suck in water instead of air. That messes up your vocal cords and makes it hard to breathe. Even if you make it out alive, your lungs are gonna hurt like crazy for a while. But the worst part? Breathing in that nasty water. Heart attack. Unlike the other stuff that can kill you, the crazy painful part usually happens before the actual heart attack. Right before it hits, you'll feel some seriously intense warning signs. It's like this excruciating pain that shoots down your arm, jaw, neck, and back. But the absolute worst is this crushing pressure on your chest, like you've got a huge elephant sitting on it. Pancreatic cancer. It can cause severe pain when it presses on the nerves in the surrounding area. This leads to intense pain in the abdomen and back. It can also cause blockages in the intestines and pain in other parts of the body. Boomslang. The boomslang is a highly venomous snake that can cause a very painful death if it bites you. The venom works by causing severe internal bleeding, which leads to uncontrollable shaking, nausea, and high fever. It is a truly agonizing way to die. Lethal injection. Lethal injection is a way to execute people that is supposed to be less painful than other methods, but sometimes it still hurts. The usual way to do it is with 3 drugs, but some places now use just 1 drug. These drugs can make the person feel relaxed, but they don't stop the pain. Sometimes the person can suffer for a long time before they die. After some executions, doctors found that the person's lungs were filled with fluid. Decompression sickness. Decompression sickness, also called barotrauma or the bends, occurs when divers go deep underwater and breathe in compressed air that contains higher levels of oxygen and nitrogen compared to the air on the surface. The issue arises when nitrogen builds up in the body, and if divers ascend too rapidly, the nitrogen expands and forms bubbles that impact the entire body. This condition can be extremely painful and even fatal. Chlorine trifluoride. Chlorine trifluoride, ClF3, was found in the 1930s. It is a highly reactive liquid that can burn almost anything it touches. If you're curious about the effects of being exposed to chlorine trifluoride, scientist Paul Doherty explains that it can turn your bones into gelatin and your fingers into small rounded stubs.